Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to decode the invisible forces that shape our society, our wealth, and our power. Since the dawn of civilization, we've kind of held on to this dream of a perfect utopia, a completely egalitarian society where every single person is equal and we're totally free from the constraints of superior and inferior rankings. But as we'll see, human organization has taken a very different path.
But here's the thing. Has a truly equal society ever actually existed? Well, confronting that question brings us face to face with a pretty harsh reality. All societies, from the absolute simplest hunter-gatherer bands to the most incredibly complex modern nations, have some form of social inequality. It's just a universal phenomenon. Power, prestige, and wealth are always unequally distributed. It's a fascinating and, let's be honest, sometimes uncomfortable truth about how we organize ourselves.
So, here's our agenda for today. We'll uncover the illusion of equality, dive into 4 major theories of stratification, unpack the caste system, explore class as an open category, and finally, take a look at the future of hierarchy. Let's start right off with Section 1, the illusion of equality, and defining the societal ladder.
Now, it's super easy to look at someone who's, say, naturally taller or physically stronger and assume, okay, that must be the root of inequality. But honestly, historical dominance isn't usually about who can lift the heaviest rock. It's really based on social inequality, the unequal sharing of privileges, wealth, status, and power. These dynamics are entirely manufactured by society, not nature.
So what exactly is social stratification? Well, it's definitely not random. It's actually a permanent vertical ladder of superior and subordinate relationships. When we talk about this, we're talking about the deliberate division of a population into hierarchical layers, where the folks at the very top enjoy maximum privileges, and those at the bottom face the most severe limitations.
Moving into Section 2, 4 theories of stratification, or as I like to call them, the sociological heavyweights. Sociologists have literally debated what drives this inequality for centuries. You've got Karl Marx, who believed it was entirely about economics, specifically who owns the factories versus who only has their labor to sell. But then we have the functionalists, like Durkheim, who argue it's actually based on the skills required for different occupational roles. Basically, they think society naturally needs a way to motivate the most qualified people to do the toughest jobs.
Then Max Weber steps in and completely disagrees that economics are the only factor. He argued instead that 3 distinct pillars work together to create our social standing: property, social honor or prestige, and political power. Think about a highly respected spiritual leader, right? They might have massive prestige and social honor, but very little actual property. It's a much richer, multidimensional way to look at things.
And this multidimensional view eventually builds into what's known as elite theory, championed by thinkers like Pareto and Mills. This theory suggests that a small minority is always going to monopolize power over an unorganized mass, purely based on their governing capacities. Society is bluntly stratified into the governing elites making the big decisions and the non-governing masses who just follow their lead.
All right, on to Section 3, the caste system explained. We're looking at a truly closed social structure here.
Let's take a look at one of the most complex stratification systems ever devised, the Indian caste system. Originating way back in ancient Hindu philosophy, society was initially divided into functional categories called varnas. Think of it as an early division of labor. You had intellectuals, protectors, traders, and workers. But over time, what started as functional groupings essentially became a rigid lock-and-key system based entirely on birth.
The absolute defining feature of the caste system is its rigidity. It is a completely closed category. It even restricts marriage to your own specific subcaste. Unlike other social systems, traditional caste does not allow you to move up or down the ladder based on your personal achievements, your wealth, or your education. Your status is locked in the exact moment you are born, and it stays that way permanently.
That brings us to Section 4, class, an open social category, and the fluidity we see in the industrial age.
So if we compare the two, while caste is closed and religiously sanctioned, class is actually a de facto economic formation. It's a product of industrialism, which means it remains relatively open. For most of us today, this means social mobility is actually possible. You can be born into the working class and through education or maybe starting a business, literally move yourself into the upper class.
But let's be real. Even with that fluidity, class still maintains a strict hierarchy. Differences in wealth and occupation naturally sort us into upper, middle, and lower classes.
We inherently recognize those superior and inferior economic positions. And honestly, these divisions often create a degree of permanence across generations anyway, heavily influencing the starting line for our children.
Finally, Section 5, the future of social hierarchy, where we'll look at the integration of caste and class.
Right now, we are witnessing this incredibly fascinating collision, the politicization of caste. Traditionally dominant high castes are actually declining a bit, while intermediate peasant groups are leveraging their massive numbers and strong economic bases to climb the socio-political ladder. They are essentially integrating their historical caste identity with modern class power to aggressively negotiate for higher status. It's a real game changer.
To borrow a super powerful thought straight from our source material, society has never been same or equal at any point of time. From ancient Varnas to modern industrial classes, we are always sorting ourselves. Stratification, dividing people into higher and lower ranks, just seems to be an inescapable feature of human organization.
So I want to leave you with this to ponder. Consider Marx's economic lens, Weber's ideas on prestige, and the specific roles you play every day. Based on your occupation, your wealth, and your social roles, where exactly do you sit on the modern stratification ladder? And more importantly, are you fixed there, or are you actively moving up? Keep exploring, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.